Hello YouTube, Reseller Mom here. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm doing a KonMarie video on my pots and pans from the kitchen. And the kitchen is such a hard place to tackle. Now I recently read the book by Marie Kondo about tidying up, and I'm doing her process the KonMarie way. And I'm doing section by section of my house. Now some sections are really easy because they're in a room that's not, super frequented, and you can kind of do those little projects in maybe 30-minute increments and whatnot. Say like the junk drawer or my silverware drawer was really easy, things like that. But this one is pots and pans, and for a busy family, we eat 3 times a day, and there's always constant coming and going. So to take a chunk of time and get all my pots and pans out was very difficult, and it took quite a while for me to arrange this. The kids need to be kind of out of the house. I need to have some floor space. I need to get everything out. And because of just the sheer volume, it's kind of a time-consuming project. So I've dedicated a few hours for this project, and I'm going to just kind of take you along with me. We're going to start off with a kitchen tour, and then I'll show you kind of all my stuff brought out and which categories I'm doing, because I'm doing all my bakeware, like my pots and pans, my cookbooks, and some of the other main things in my cupboards. And then I'll show you the after. So let's get started here. All right, going to start off with a quick overall kitchen tour, and then we'll go into specifics. I've got a large pantry here, your typical stove with a couple cabinets there, microwave, couple cabinets over there, sink area, we've got glasses and more drawers right there, the refrigerator. This is our kind of little hub. In these drawers has everything for the kids' lunches and snacks and bread and cereal, and then I've got all my Tupperware over here and all of our glasses that are like sports and plastic with, plastic ones with lids and straws and stuff. So that's all contained over there. Now these I consider their own category, and I don't really, I think it needs to be done, but not today. Today we're going to focus in on pots, pans, and servingware. So up above I have 2 big shelf areas, and I don't really care for the way that looks. I want it to be more eye appealing, but we'll see. I don't know if many of those objects up there are in the categories we're doing today. But I do know that I did bowls the other week. See this red bowl and the cream with the stripe there? I had about 3 extra sets of bowls, and I don't know quite how it got to that level, but some of the bowls were missing bowls or had one that had broken. Anyhow, I had about 5 sets total and decided to keep 2, get rid of 3, kept my favorite 2. And that's something, you got to decide and see if you're keeping your favorite 2 that are functionable and parting ways with the rest. But I really, once I did it, I don't regret it. So really loving this process. Okay, let's go over to the dining room real quick. We're in the process of a marker rehaul here, but anyhow, I got my white sheet ready to go. That's going to go in the living room. I've got a cabinet, pretty much everything in this cabinet underneath, and this cabinet underneath, and this thing. We've got more and more and more stuff. All right, let's go through some drawers specifically. Starting off with the pantry on the right, there's a lot of things that I love, and there's a lot of things that I don't love. Now, I recently, well, about a year ago now, went through and got dollar store bins, got some labels, made my labels and everything, and I love how some of that turned out. I've got all my pancake mix down there if I want to make pancakes. I've got baskets. These are just from the dollar store baskets down here. And this is just some really easy labels. I've got trash bins there. I've got potatoes in one. I've got onions in one. So I do like that. I've got all my spices on my spice store. And that was a project one day I went through. We pulled out all the spices, got rid of anything that was a duplicate or really old or that we just didn't care for. And only kept the ones that we love. And I tell you, we got rid of so much. You pick up sometimes some sort of Italian seasoning or something and you use it and then you're like, I don't really like it. Anyhow, so that was a category by itself. But today I've got all these Corningwares up here, and I've got all of those cake platters up there. Down by the stove, that looks like a mess. I don't know what yours looks like, but that's a mess. And then over here, it's like we didn't even try anymore. We gave up. The lighting is pretty bad, but as you can see, it is not organized. Now, what I do love is I love these guys. Oh, I'm missing a label. But this was a tip or trick from Do It On a Dime. I love her stuff. And I went ahead and everything's organized there. I went to Target and made sure I got, like, I wanted to have 2 sets because sometimes when I'm doing a lot of baking, I need 2. And anyhow, so I wanted to make sure they matched, and I love how that looks. So you could see, the areas that I hate, that. Areas that I like, that. So I can tell the general feel of where I'm going with things. This is the inside of one of my corner hutches. Now, things I like having my tray with my cups right there, all nicely on display for some nice wine glasses. But the rest of this is kind of another hot mess. I've got, a kid's imprint, a taco book, just random. It's not done. In the cabinet itself, I've got all sorts of stuff going on here. I don't even know. Like, it's just been crammed in, and I couldn't tell you. So we're going to get everything out and sorted by group. And what that means is I take my white cloth, I'll put it down in the living room, and then I'll start getting everything from those categories. So these silver trays right there, those are like chips and salsa serving dishes. So I'll get everything that kind of looks like a chip and salsa serving dish and put it together. Because I know I have 1, 2, and the red one is like a third. I've got trays. I've got all sorts of stuff. So we'll get it out, and it's going to be, I'm sure it will be eye-opening like the rest. All right, let's look at some final drawers so I can kind of show you what I'm going for. I have emptied out all of that hutch space, most of this area, all of this area. And then over in the kitchen, I've got this cabinet is all empty, underneath is empty, this is empty, and up here is empty. But I also included, I opened this section right here, and all of that stuff was just, part of this category. So now I got to think, what do I want my cabinets to look like when I open them up? How do I want them to feel? How do I want them to be organized? What do I envision when I open it up? See, now I love opening up my cabinet and seeing that all nice and neat and ready to go. For the most part, I love my pantry. I open it up and I've got my categories ready to go. My spices are fairly organized. I have the ones I don't use very much on the bottom and the ones I use a lot on the top. So recently I did my glass cabinet here, which is right here, all our glasses. I did this like 2 nights ago, and what I want is kind of the same feel. When I open it up, I have everything kind of nice and neat and lined up. What I did was, we didn't want to part with a whole bunch of coffee cups, but really, how many coffee cups do you need at one time? So I decided to keep 9 in this area, so we have 9 in rotation. I mean, if I go through more than 9 coffee cups in a day or two, because we run the dishes every day, that'd be, that's a problem then. For wine glasses, I kept my most favorite wine glasses that I love to use there, and I got rid of any mishmash ones that I didn't like. I kept some glass ones here. Anyhow, you get the feel of it. I kept extras on the top so that I have them, and things that I love but I wasn't ready to part with, and all the ones that I'm going to use on a daily basis right at hand. Easy to put in and out. It's not completely crammed. I don't have a before picture, but it was a mess. I did get rid of 2 boxfuls. They were kind of on the smaller size boxfuls of glasses. But if you can imagine, pretty much like twice the amount of glasses all stuffed in there, that's what my cabinet looked like. Anyhow, so I like having everything that I need on hand. And we put the little plastic ones down so the kids have them easy. And when I open this cabinet now, I feel like I know where things go and what I have on hand. So that's the feel I'm going for. So now back to looking at my cabinets here. I've got some vertical organization. I want to definitely keep in mind things that I don't use very much are going to go in the very tucked in back corner there, or maybe on the very top shelf up there, something where I don't mind getting a step stool out once a year to access my pie tins if I make pies once a year. But if I'm an avid pie baker, then I would want them up closer. And that's part of kind of, if you've read any or done any Kaizen work, I use that in the workplace a lot as Kaizen method. You keep the things that you use most frequently at your fingertips, and things that you don't use very frequently, you put in the furthest space. So definitely, like, that top cabinet can go, I can't really reach, so I need a step stool. So I definitely want to keep all of that in mind. All right, let's go back over here. All right, there was a point in time where just looking at this mess would give me like an anxiety attack. Serious. One of the reasons, if I haven't mentioned this before, that I'm doing this is we want to move. And I know right now that most of the stuff in this pile of junk, I don't want to keep. There's some that's very important that we use so frequently, I can't live without it. And then there's stuff that I just really don't use at all, or thought I was going to use and ended up not using. And then there's stuff that I love and I would love to use, but because of how it's stored, I can't ever get to it. So now is the time to make all those decisions. And she says, KonMarie says, you got to get rid of the guilt. And if it makes you feel better and works for you, tell it thank you and give it a nice farewell and let it move on to be a blessing to somebody else. And that's so important, and it makes it a lot easier to get rid of things. Because there's a glass bowl over here that's a serving bowl, and I absolutely hate it. But I have held on to it for 15 years of marriage because it was part of the wedding. And now I've just got to say, I don't want to keep that negative baggage around. I am better than that. I can keep things. I'm an adult. Imagine that. I can keep things that I want and love around without feeling guilty about whoever gave that to me. I couldn't even tell you who gave it to me, but I know it was part of the wedding set, and I don't use it. I don't like it. I stuff it in the back of a corner every time we move or reorganize, and it's time to let it go. And that's okay. Nobody's going to come running out of the trees and the bushes and go, oh my gosh, why didn't you keep that? I gave that to you from 15 years ago. It was, so important. Nobody's going to do that. So you kind of got to get over that mental block and kind of deal with things and really honor yourself and put yourself in a priority. And doing that just is liberating. I don't know how else to describe it. When you start surrounding yourself with only things that you love and you really want to be around, you really start seeing how much negativity was in your life previous that you didn't even really think about. I mean, I don't think about that dish hardly at all, except for when I'm reorganizing. I'm going, oh man, I got to keep this because it was sentimental at one point. No, you've got to move on. So anyhow, there's a lot of things to go through here. I'm going to start the process and I'll give you updates as we go. All right, time for a quick update. It's been about 15-20 minutes, and what I did was I started playing some on Pandora, some meditation relaxation music just to kind of give a nice mood to the room, and I started pulling everything that I knew I absolutely didn't like or want and putting it into the box, and I've already filled the box. It's been 15 minutes. I really thought my box was not going to get filled, so I guess that's good because now I know I have lots of room to keep the things that I do love. So I'm going to see it as a positive here. Got to go get another box and continue on with that. Basically, I just needed some room to walk, so I started trying to create kind of a path there and pulling the things that I didn't like, putting them in the box and kind of grouping things up that were like with like. And that's what's going to be continued on now because I just need to get all the things that are kind of similar in function together so that I can see what I do have left out of the things that I love. And then I can decide, do I really love all of those? Do I really need all of them? And make some more decisions about what I absolutely want to keep. All right, so continuing on, I got to go get another box. All right, it's been another 10 minutes, and I've pretty much almost filled up this other medium-sized box right here. And, this is just for me, round one of going through and picking out all the stuff that I know absolutely, just get the easy garbage out first. Not that my stuff is garbage, but you know what I mean. The easy stuff first, and then you feel like, okay, wow, I only have this much left to deal with. It's much better than having the extra 2 boxes full of stuff. Anyhow, that's just how I break it down. It's easier for me. However you want to do it, go ahead. So now I'm going to start grouping everything into piles so that I can see exactly how much I have of each type of item and get it all sorted. And once it's sorted and I go through it and I can see, okay, I have, like this one, I have 3 Corningware that all have lids. I got rid of anything that doesn't have a lid because I don't really want to keep it if it doesn't have a lid. I don't ever use it. I've had lots of pieces of Corningware that don't have lids and I don't ever use it because I always want it with a lid. So now that I've got all the ones out without a lid, I have 3 left. Do I want to keep all 3? Do I need all three? I'm going to get all that stuff grouped up into different sections on the mat here, and then I can see what I do want to keep, how much of it I want to keep, and then I can start thinking of where to store it. All right, time for a quick update. I have filled 2 boxes and started a third, and I've grouped everything into categories. So I have all my pots and pans down to the left, and the baking stuff to the top left, and then all my servingware stuff on kind of the right. I've got all my tablecloths grouped together and books together, napkins and aprons. And I've gone through them and gotten rid of any ones that I absolutely don't love or use, anything that had rust in it, anything that was ripped, torn, damaged in such a way that, I wouldn't want to use it. And now this is what I have left. Now that all the groups are together, I can really start looking at each group and my storage area. How do I want it to look? And what do I absolutely love and go to? Let's take my frying pans, for example. I have 4 big ones and 3 small ones. Do I need 7 frying pans? The answer there is no. I at most use 2. So which ones do I absolutely want to keep and love using? And that's what I want to fill my space with. And I need to do that for kind of each category and, absolutely only keep the items I love. So that will be the next part. And I look forward to getting these all into the space and stuff. Because when it's done, I'm going to love it. And that's the part I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to love it. My family's going to love it. It makes it easier to clean. It makes it easier to put things back. It makes it easier to make decisions when you go to use those items because you don't have 7 frying pans to use from. You don't have to dig through 5 pots to get to the frying pan that you want. All right, so that is it for this part. And then I'll show you an update when I have an update. I think I'm going to start with doing all of the pots and pans and getting that cupboard done and ready to go. Because I know that I want my pots and pans to the right. I want all my baking stuff to the left. I want baking stuff that I don't use very much in the top part of my cabinet. So I know kind of like generally where things are going to go, which is the nice part about the kitchen. It's fairly laid out. For my other storage spots, I kind of have an idea in my head how I want that to look and where I want everything to go. I will probably make one absolutely all of my servingware and then the other one probably all of my linens and my cookbooks. So I have a roadmap, which is exciting and fun to do. So now becomes the good part of putting things back and only keeping what you love and putting it into a home and making a home for everything so everything has a place to go. I also want to keep in mind that I want to have about 20% free space, and that allows you to grow and move and expand and contract with systems. You don't ever want to be full to the brim because as soon as you do that, then you start getting really crammed and you wind up back to where you were before. It is 2:30 in the afternoon and my project is complete. My sheet is completely empty. I've got one full box over there. This box is pretty full. Probably 3/4 full. This box is definitely full. And let's see what the cabinets look like. My cabinet that holds my pots and pans now is definitely more tidy, for sure. Not sure I absolutely love how it's organized right now, but I am going to live with it for a while. Now, I do keep everything that's in the Goodwill buckets for a couple of days, just so I have, 24, 48 hours to kind of think on it and live with it and see how I love it. And, I'm just not positive about this. I do like my vertical thing there, but I do feel like it's a lot of wasted space. It's going to come down to function. If we go to start cooking and find that it's not really jiving for us, then we can rearrange as needed. I don't have to keep that vertical thing. I could totally nest my frying pans and then put them on the top shelf and move the pots to the bottom shelf. I've got versatility here. But I do like that it doesn't have so much stuff crammed in it and that I kept all my favorite pots. I don't feel like I'm lacking. I've got two littler pots, one big pot and one big frying pan thing there. I left room for my big red pan that goes with this lid for right there. So we'll see how that works. I did get everything flat into the bottom drawer here in terms of cookie sheets that I wanted to keep and anything kind of flat that goes into the oven. In this cupboard, I wound up keeping, oh, I didn't show this before, but I have just a little hook that I keep my strainer right here. It keeps it out of the way. But I kept all my rolling pins for pastries right there. I have my cake pans in the back, and I got rid of my rusty ones, so now I will be on the lookout for new cake pans if I want them. I don't know how much I will really need them, but I have space if I do want to get them. On the bottom, I have my go-to roasting pan, my Corningware I decided to keep, and my lasagna pans, or that's what I call them. What do you call them? Glass baking dishes. I have one more that has enchiladas in it right now, but I do have room to keep it all. I do like how you could easily look in and see what's going on. It's not overly packed, and it certainly looks better than what it was before. This cupboard turned out to be my favorite because I have all of my party and entertaining stuff in there. I can easily get to for when we are hosting or, just day to day. If I want to pull burgers from the grill and put them on a pretty plate, I can do that now. I definitely have room to grow. I can put more platters here. I've got an open space down here. So it's definitely a lot more functional and easy to get to. And I love it when I open it now. This cupboard is now organized. I've got all the linens on the top two shelves, and I've got cookbooks, Easy Bake, and chopstick stuff down in the bottom shelf. All things are kind of with each other and organized. They don't look the best, and she does have ways to improve that. If you wanted it to physically look better, you could fold everything up and have it nice and neat and square. And you know what? To me, it's behind closed doors, so it's not super important for me to open it up and have it look like a magazine when I open it up. If I do want to make it look prettier, I could sit down and refold these. It does not take very long, but I do want systems in place that the rest of my family can do. And honestly, the rest of my family is not into folding towels and napkins and stuff into very neat stacks. So while I could do it and it would look great for a little bit, I don't think that's one that our family would really carry on for day after day. All right, guys, I am all done for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like these videos, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you want to share your experience or have any tips or comments, go ahead and leave those down below. Those inspire me so much when I hear them and hear that people have done them, or inspires you to do an area in your life, no matter how big or small. So this part of the kitchen I'd been wanting to do for a long time, for several weeks now. Finally had the chance to do it, so I'm so happy I got it done, and I got to share it with you, so double win there. I started at 11:30, finished at 3. I did have interruptions and filming, so less than 3.5 hours to do this project from start to finish. I am definitely happy. So, that is all I got. I hope you guys are having a great week, great weekend, and I hope you're enjoying life to the fullest. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. All right, next step is to get your area prepped and ready to go. A couple of things about this. One, I use a big white sheet to kind of define my floor area. It keeps all my pots and pans clean and, kind of defines the area I'm going to put everything. That way I'm not putting it on the floor and then having to clean it before it goes back into the cupboards again. Anyhow, picked up this big white, I think it's a California King sheet at a thrift store for a couple of bucks. It's come in handy with so many home projects. We can cover furniture up, or we can define a play area. If the kids want to dump out a whole bunch of Legos or something, it's nice to have a sheet like this for different projects. Anyhow, next I got a big old box right there that all my donations are going to go into. So as I go through and I find that I don't want something, I will put it into that box. Next, the mindset. She highly recommends not listening to music or having distractions. So I've kind of prepped my mind and the room. I've opened up all the windows because it's a gorgeous day. I've let in a lot of sunshine, so it feels nice and sunny and bright. Camera's not picking up too much on it, but I also have the house quiet. The kids have gone off to football, and I have a couple-hour window of no spouse, no dogs, no kids. So I'm free of distractions. I'm not going to put on any music. We're just going to focus on this project. So the next step is to go ahead and get everything out. And as I get everything out, I'm going to start putting it into piles. And I haven't decided quite how that's going to look yet, but it's probably going to be like cooking pans in one corner. Anything that's like a sheet pan will go into one corner, serving dishes into one corner, and as you see what you have, then you can start making decisions based on your life. And that's another reason why I love this process is it doesn't say you only need, one cookie sheet. It kind of allows you to say, okay, I love all of these and I'm a big baker. I want to keep all these, or I don't bake at all and I'm not going to keep any of them. So it allows you a lot of flexibility. It's all on keeping what you love and focusing on what you want to keep and not what you want to give away. All right, so let me get started and I'm going to haul everything out. All right, I got everything out of the spaces that I wanted to work on. I've got my linens all stacked up on the couch here. We're going to go through those really quick. I just decided to add them in today because it was convenient and part of the areas that I want to make look clean. My cookbooks are on top of the couch there. I don't really want to pare any of those down. I think I have one that I want to get rid of, but they were part of that in that area that I want to get reorganized. So now I really need to start thinking not so much about what I want to keep or anything, but what do I want my areas to look like? When I open my cupboards, what do I want to see? So let me show you the empty space that I have to work with, and I'll show you my glass cupboard because that one I just recently redid the other day, and that's kind of the look I'm going for. Going to start with the top of the pantry there, and I got lots of room, which is good because I think when the family comes home, they're going to have a couple things they want to keep, and that's all right. It's all right to have extra space. Now, I did wind up breaking my 2 cake pan holders. I was kind of upset about that, but it is what it is. I'll find some other ones that I love. That's okay. Let's move on to the stove area. Up in the top corner space, I put appliances and gadgets that we do use, but just not very frequently. So if I do want to get to them, they are up there. So I liked how that turned out. I feel like it's not quite as crowded, and I definitely got rid of a lot of the excess junk that we just didn't really use or ever need. Hello YouTube, Reseller Mom here. Welcome to another KonMarie video. Today's focus for tidying is going to be my kitchen area, specifically pots, pans, and servingware. Pretty much anything that goes into the oven, or stove, and then anything that I would use for a party. Now, Marie Kondo is the lady who wrote the book, The Life-Changing Process of Tidying Up. I've read both of her books, and they are amazing. Now, they describe a way of going through your house and tidying up in kind of a one-step process, but that process can take several months to do. Believe me, it does. I am on, I think, month 2 or 3 of this, but I'm having an amazing time, and I feel so much better. We have gotten rid of over 125 bags of stuff. I don't even know, we're keeping like a little tally, but it's an amazing amount of stuff. And I feel like I'm just about halfway through the process. Honestly, I still look at other places in my house and I'm going, oh, that's going to be my next project. So the other thing that I love about this whole process is you do categories. So for a busy mom of 2, and my husband works full time, and then we have things like we're doing baseball and football and gymnastics and stuff, I can do 1 or 2 categories every week to slowly go through this process. Yes, you could probably do everything in like a weekend or a week, but for my life, that's what works for me. So on days that I don't have a whole lot of time, I can do a small category such as like my tablecloths or, what else? My makeup drawer or something that doesn't take an enormous amount of time that I can commit about a half hour to. And I feel so accomplished because I can get it done in that amount of time. And, if you just stick to the process, it works phenomenally. All right, so for today's video, I'm going to go show you everything that I have a problem with and kind of go through the areas in my kitchen that I have a problem with and what I want to change. And I'll show you some of the drawers I've done and finished and what the end kind of product looks like. And then I'll walk you through the process. We're going to drag everything out. That's what you got to do. You got to take everything from that category and kind of put it all out there. Face what your problem is, and then keep only what you love and use and really, really enjoy, and part ways with the stuff that you don't. And it's a very positive. I was surprised at how positive it makes me feel because when you say you're going to clean your house, I immediately go, oh, I don't want to clean my house. I don't want to organize. And for me in the past, a lot of times the organizing meant finding another organizing gadget to store more junk. And this is kind of the opposite of that. So I'm really, really loving this process. Okay, let's start off with a kitchen tour. And I'm just kind of going to go from maybe an overall tour and then kind of the specific areas, and then we'll start dragging everything out. Okay, today is Saturday, and I've committed probably 2 or 3 hours to this one because I have a lot, and I think it's going to just be a little time consuming. All right, let's get started with a kitchen tour here. All right, just like my measuring cups, which I love because now I know exactly where every measuring cup is. They don't take up a lot of space. They're very organized. The kids know exactly where everything is. I've done a couple of drawers. We did the silverware drawer one time, and now everything is in its space. I've got all my Cutco stuff. I've got spoons, little forks, big forks, knives. I went ahead and got some of this liner that was at, I think it was at Fred Meyer's, and just to add some color and pop in there, and I really like how it turned out. It's functional. I have a little tiny drawer that I wound up buying for corn on the cob things. Now, what's great about this process is you go through and you only keep what you love, and then you really see, okay, what could I purchase or what do I need to purchase that would be in the best interest of my drawer instead of buying something and then trying to make it work. And it may take you a while to find something that's going to work. The next drawer I did was this one. And I'd first started out just by putting everything on top of the mats. And then I noticed when I was opening and shutting the drawers, everything was kind of shaking around and the kids were, not putting it back in its designated little spot. So I went ahead to the dollar store, to the Dollar Tree, and got little containers. So now I've got little containers for all my specialty stuff. We need the egg chopper. We use it. My daughter has a little drawer for her easy bake stuff and the lids for her little sippy cups that she likes. I've got my basters and my rice things. These are all things that we use on a regular basis. Now, one drawer that we did, but is not complete, is down here. We did go through all this, and believe it or not, it's about halfway done. But now that I can see the half that is back and, that we do want to keep in this drawer, it's a deep drawer. And what I'm going to do is get those dividers that just go into the drawer to kind of separate things up. I've looked at other containers. I've been looking at containers for about a month for this drawer, and that's the one that I'm finally going to go with. But for me, I know exactly what I want to do now with this drawer, where before it was just a big old mess. And then if I have just the dividers that will divide up the drawer, I can then put the things, a little bit more tidy and stacked up. I can put all the tongs with the tongs, and I can put the bulky stuff with the bulky stuff. So anyhow, now I know exactly what I want to purchase for that drawer. All right, I'm about halfway done. It's been about 10 minutes. I've gotten all of my baking sheets out, pots, pans, anything to make a cake, casserole dishes and such, rolling pins. Pretty much anything baking or associated with the oven is kind of what the category is. You can see this little organizer right down here. I purchased that yesterday at Ross because I definitely want to store things vertical versus flat lay because it's recommended for a number of reasons. But anyhow, I kept the tags on it in case if it doesn't work for this project. I knew I was going to take on the kitchen this weekend, and was at Ross, so I grabbed one of those. But everything else is from the kitchen, and I now have one cupboard space empty and 2 big cabinets empty. The other half is going to be from the dining room area, and pretty much all my servingware and junk that was in there. And we'll see where that leads because this is kind of a lot as it is, and I don't know if I have enough sheet left for the rest. All right, let me get started on that. My little middle island thing, I wound up putting all my tall pitchers on there because they wouldn't fit in the other cupboards. So we're going to try it out there. Pretty much anything to do iced tea or lemonade or whatever for drinks is now in that middle, or whatever this section is, this top section. And then I put all my plastic non-breakable trays there. And that makes sense for me because with the kids, sometimes they want to put things on a tray and I don't want them using my big heavy glass stuff. So we'll try that out and see how that works.